And in the garden there was a new tomb, in which no one had ever been laid. And so, because it was the Jewish day of preparation, and the tomb was nearby, they laid Jesus there.
Looks so different. Not at all like it was. 22 years. Let's see. Yes, this must be the place. It's changed. Yeah. Yes, this is the place. 22 years. It's been 22 years since I stood here. The place where Jesus died. I'm retired now. I'm no longer a Roman soldier. But back then I was a centurion, a leader of 100 men, the power of life and death over them. I gave the order, and they obeyed. If they disobeyed, the penalty was death, just as it was for me. 22 years ago, I was the centurion who ran the show at this spot. Power, force, coercion, I did the job. They gave me the orders, and I carried them out. They said he was executed, or was to be executed, because he had broken the law, and so we executed their man. Not that I had a choice to obey or not, because I too had been put to death and found myself on my own custom-fitted cross, had I disobeyed. But there were no thoughts of disobeying at the time. I followed my orders and enforced the policies. So long ago, in a different world. Back then, we soldiers would work for pay and for promotion. Some of us would jokingly say that we joined for fun, travel, and adventure. Some other statements are far truer. We work for our pay, we hope for promotion, and we hope to last 25 years so we could get our retirement. We could live comfortably the rest of our lives. So I was the one who walked the Via Dolorosa, the way of suffering, and then headed Jesus. I was the one who watched him drag that crossbar, and then when he couldn't anymore, went down and grabbed someone from the crowd and told him to take that crossbar and to continue carrying it, since Jesus was too weak to continue. I was the one that was there and heard the cries of the crowd. They called me a baby too. You should have heard them. They called me bloodthirsty. Words full of hate. Words full of rage. I was there when it began. I mean, when Pilate, the governor, gave the order to me to take him out to crucify him. And Pilate's there, washing his hands, trying to wipe everything off as if he had no responsibility. It was up on this cross, up on this hill, we placed that cross. And we gave the order to crucify him. I wish I could wash my hands of it, but that would be very dishonest, at least, because I wasn't an innocent, not at all. No order. There was no order given to mock Jesus. There was no order to beat him. No order to push a crown of thorns on his head. No order to get down on our knees and mock homage and hail him as King of the Jews. Ha ha ha. No. There was no order that did that. So on this hill we crucified him with two others. We gambled to decide who got his clothing. At one point offered him cheap wine on a sponge. long stick, hold it up. I gave the order. Watched as it all happened. So long ago. But now I see things a bit different than I did then. Then I was interested in power and control and domination, and having authority and being able to wield it. But now I'm not the same man. Now I value other things more than power, more than authority. I've seen it misused too much. That's why in my retirement I traveled back here, come back to this place, seek some answers, bring some meaning to it, try to find some inner peace, and maybe even the ability to sleep at night. Because what gets me over and over again through those sleepless nights is the fact that I did it. I gave that order. Now you have your, last Sunday you had that gathering and you said, let him be crucified or crucify him or some such words. And you may have some thought when you say that as to, ooh, I gave the order. I did it. In a far more literal sense. I gave the order. They put him on that cross, and 6 hours or so later, he was dead. When we put him up there, I was pretty sure he was guilty. But in those 6 hours, I became less and less sure. Less and less certain. I've seen a lot of crucifixions. I've seen people go to the death time and time again. That comes with the turf if you're stationed in Judea any amount of time. But this man Jesus didn't act like the others. The others were full of curses and condemnations, or wailing and get me down from here. And Jesus did none of those things. Instead, Jesus says to them things like, Father, forgive them. They don't know what they're doing. Woman, behold your son. Son, behold your mother. Amazing. Amazing. I thirst. And it is finished. Amazing. Amazing. I mean, these were not the words you normally heard from a dying man on the cross. These were words of someone who cared. Who cared even for his killers. Even for me. And his last words, forgiving all of us. Commending us to God. Back then I thought Rome was the ultimate power. And even worshipped the emperor as a god. That was part of paying taxes. And you paid your taxes and you bowed and did worship to a bust of the emperor, the god likeness of the empire, or some such nonsense. I thought Rome was everywhere, with its lands and its legions, doing the bidding of our emperor, putting down insurrections, keeping things orderly for Caesar, fulfilling his wishes and wants, at the expense of so many people. And so we sacked cities, and then built roads to them, so that if there was another insurrection, we could get back there even quicker. But I know differently now. I know that the emperor is no god. I know that kings and princes can play at politics. And they can hurt so many people in the process, just for power and control. Just because they can. I wish I had gotten to know Jesus a little better back then. I wish I had talked and listened to him instead of mocking him. Well, I've heard there's groups that worship this Jesus up in Antioch, elsewhere. Groups that may have some of the answers that I'm looking for now. May have some of the peace I seek. Perhaps I'll seek them out. Learn more about it.